the Welsh international Richard Gifford, a very reliable member of that Welsh squad that has been so consistent over the last couple of years in particular. Saw him last week in the World Team Shootout, part of the Welsh team that went to the final for the second year running. Only this year, it was Malta that won the title. It's a good break from Gifford. He's made a ball. One yellow down. And it looks like it'll be reds. That's an excellent first shot from Kyron Hewitt.
Has that yellow done some damage top right? Not sure.
The red's sort of on the break line. It looks like still slides by, but does the one to the left of that go by the 8 ball is the question.
Also, do they have the angle on the one that they're fairly straight on to top left to top through and get to the red and yellow together? It's difficult to tell. They might be too straight. Yeah. Oh, it's come too far down the table. You could see the plan there was to come down. They were too straight on that previous one, but to come down and leave a really high angle. So probably a foot short of where they are now, so they could track up and play into the yellow. Can't do that from here, so change your plan. And forcing it in that situation much harder. If you're playing that with natural line and clipping it in, it's so much easier to make the pot, but also to get the outcome you're after. It's 2 straight matches they've had first opportunity, and it's been tough, and they've decided to take it on. Tough to work out that yellow. Maybe the double goes. Do you want to be that aggressive when your opponents have made a mess? Can they get to it now, actually? No, not when it was that tight into the pocket. Might be able to swing this 2 or 3 cushions into it now. Is he a touch thin for that? Perhaps. Would love to have got to the 3rd cushion first and popped it more into play, but couldn't play it that with any more pace. It would have thrown a little bit wider.
Jimmy and Rob back there potting so much. I wonder if their plan is to land high side of that yellow and take it downstairs.
Possibly to double now, just because it's easier to land on the double than to get above it. I think if they got ball in hand, they'd love to. They'd happily play it down the table, but they're on the double now.
Played that really well. Now yellow's sitting pretty. Simple 8 ball waiting for the whacker, who duly obliges. That is 1-0. They have looked very, very sharp tonight, those two.
Certainly an insight into the way they go about the game, though. That every, could easily be forgiven for going, do you know what, that's a problem ball. I want to make sure we punish our opponents for making a mistake. We're going to slow it down. But it's not the way those two go about it. They believe they can get out from anywhere. And they certainly did. That was a challenging problem to solve. And they worked it well. Tough layout, this. Interesting to see just off camera there, Jimmy and Rob having a chat about the situation. And we're on the individual frames now. And I'm all for it, but quite often, especially when you've got 2 pros out there, and 2 pros that would be you know, at a similar level, just to allow them to go about their own business. But they're certainly had a good chat and come up with a plan together. Plan's not worked, so Jimmy's making himself available again if Rob wants it. Got the cannon but missed the pot. Opens up one red. Still got the other red at the bottom of the table. That's a problem. And does the red by the yellow at the top of the table go? I think it doesn't. This is a problem layout for Rich. Well, the way he plays that, the red must pass the yellow. Could have tried to go into it there if it doesn't. Well, he's played on it. Oh, the red by the 8 ball passes to bottom right, so I might... Oh, dear. Well, it must have gone because he played on it, but then he plays it as though it didn't. It doesn't matter what his plan is. He's not going to get there. The only good news is, and the reason he held up his hand, is he's blocked off bottom right-hand corner pocket. I really like this from these two. I really do. And so often, you know, we ask the question, how are you going to gel out there as players? Are you going to help each other? And the pros tend to say, no, we're, you know, two good players. We'll just let ourselves play our own frames. But these two, happy to have those debates and work it out. I love seeing it. Loose one from 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 this time. That's teamwork there. You could tell that 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 wanted to take on the super high tariff shot. The problem was, if you don't make it, he was going to open up the problem red and leave it wide open for Giffy to counter. And you could hear Jimmy offering his advice, and it was a good shot played. Does he now give that opportunity to Richard to play the similar shot to the one he was looking at? Does this red go in right centre? Yes. And he can open everything up in one shot here. A chance to be aggressive. And he misses it by a long way. So Rob Wharne rewarded for patience. Not something we often associate with 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 in his game. Loose one. Just quit on that one a fraction, and now he's got a tougher yellow than he wanted.
Heavy needed a man to pot you a ball, though. Rob Wharne would be high on the list. And he's made that look very, very straightforward. Very similar shot to the one we saw missed earlier on tonight. Rob Wharne doesn't tend to miss many. That was excellent from the whacker.
I'd like to see Rob play like that more in terms of his chances to win tournaments. I know he's right on the brink of doing that anyway. I do think every now and then he just goes a little bit too aggressive, and you know, the shot he was eyeing up, you know, he was maybe 50-50 to make it, maybe a little bit better than that, but every time you don't, you lose the frame off it. And, you know, could he play the percentages more? Probably.
Brilliant break that from Kyron Hewitt. That's the game, young man. You'll have plenty more of those in his time playing pool, the 16-year-old. He may not hit a better break than that for the rest of 2025, but he'll make plenty more balls.
I think it's the best break of the night.
Wow, he says. Yeah, I can believe it.
Yeah.
Extension called.
It's actually not left the best of layouts. Jimmy was asking for Rob to be patient. Will he do the same here at 2-0 up?
What do you reckon?
Well, I think you can go aggressive first shot because you've got the angle, but if it doesn't come out, then you can pull back.
Yellow balls in play.
I mean, these reds are terrible, so yeah, there's no need to continue to be aggressive here.
He'll want to be. Whether that's realistic or not, I'm not sure. Does have a yellow to left centre if he wants it.
He actually does have a layout here. If he's got a next ball on, then he's actually got a layout that can work. Because the red nearest the 8 ball does pass the yellow by the 8 ball does pass the red to bottom left. Well, it certainly would have done there when he's moved the red as well.
Yeah, lesser spotted Jimmy Croxton missed. Those are rare.
Yeah, I think the right thing was to continue to be aggressive with the layout he had there. One good pot was going to give him a great chance.
Yeah, and he wasn't going to leave much either, which is exhibited right here. Kyron Hewitt is long odds to win the frame on reds from here. Oh, that's a foul. Just feathered the cue ball. Easily done.
Oh, that's a poor one. It's a poor one because it should cost you the frame. Jimmy's just eyeing up the plant rather than potting the one over the pocket. In fact, now he's going right centre, which keeps it cleaner. That's the reason for this. If he plays the plant, the yellow he would have been hitting would have been going close to the side cushion. And yes, he would have had one to left centre, but he didn't want to have to go that way. A cleaner way of going is the better way.
Yeah, it's a great little route that Jimmy's got himself here now. Yellow bottom left is the perfect ball, really, to just wait for the 8 ball anywhere close to straight in on that, and away he flies. It's not the greatest shot he's ever played, mind.
I actually thought he could have gone bottom left there, and then the one that he's just played to left centre was also a good ball to get to the 8 ball. I know what you're saying, and I think perfect world, I believe the one bottom left would have been the best one, but one to the centre wouldn't have been bad either, and it would have solved the problem of being too thin on it. But he's played a good shot there to get back into good shape.
Yeah, I like the way he's gone about this in the end, Jimmy.
Yeah, lovely leaving loads of angle on this because you're going to spin it the 2 cushions straight down the line towards the yellow. It's hanging over the pocket, but he's approaching it where he's always going to have a good angle on it.
Very nice visit to the table from Jimmy Croxton. Classy out, this. Excellent from the Joker, who lays his cards out there. 3-0 in front, his partnership. And they're yet to drop a frame. 4-0 in the first match. 3-0 up in the second. They are looking very dangerous, those boys.
I hate to say it as well, because Jimmy is one we always like to have some fun with. He's called the Joker for a reason. They're playing a really sensible and high quality match play tonight as well. Normally we talk about those two just being all out and super aggressive and eye-catching. But they are playing the game. Tough to beat.
Yeah, I completely agree. When you get two quality players, that break from Rob is so good and so reliable. Didn't quite seem to get the power in that one. He still got the cue ball. He still seemed to swing it with the same amount of power. Just maybe didn't quite time the pack. Dry one. Not left the easiest split, and the 15-second shot clock has now begun too.
What did he play on? Hard to see what he was playing on there, even if he goes an extra couple of rolls. Was it just a case of time was running out, 15 seconds a shot, you just had to hit?
Well, he called his extension and then got on the shot, so not too short, to be truth to be told.
And it's the last thing they wanted was a messy layout and a slowed down frame.
Yeah, look at this, Jimmy Croxton playing match play. It's great to see. Wonder if we talked about it a little bit earlier on in the season, where we know Jimmy well. He's been doing amazingly well with his coaching arm of sort of his brand, if you like. He's been having some real success with it. He's had players from all walks of life approach him for tips, tricks, advice, coaching. Doing really well. And I think it seems to be rubbing off on himself, because you can't, if you're going to coach, he knows the right way to play, because, you know, he knows the right way to play. He's a top player. But Jimmy often, if you look back in his ultimate pool history, wouldn't necessarily always play, in inverted commas, the right way. Because he's so gifted a cueist, he would often maybe overstretch and play shots that he believes he's capable of, but, you know, other players wouldn't take on. Whereas now he's probably drilling into students about, make sure you only take the shots that are within your scope, and, you know, sometimes it's the right shot, you've got to play percentages. All of a sudden, when Jimmy does that, he's a serious player to beat.
I think it's going to help his pattern play and his decision making, and I think we're seeing it in a small sample size here, because he's a great cueist. There's no getting around that. You know, he will play, and subconsciously probably play patterns and routes that kind of rely on having to be a great cueist. Where when you're coaching, you're trying to coach the right thought process, and, as you say, trying to play the game, you know, simplify the game, if you like. And I think that will rub off on him. And I think he's already said it himself that he's seeing that happen this year. He knows, you know, the results may not be standout, but he knows the performances are.
Yeah, you can tell from what we've seen of Jimmy this year, he looks a more all-rounded, well-rounded player. Looks title-winning.
Yeah, and I mean, to put it into context, in last year's Pairs Cup, he got through his opening night. He was playing with 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, wasn't he? And he came to the table in the final match with all he had to do was pot 2 balls and run the clock down. And he decided to run round the table and try and make a buzzer beater clearance. And the only way they couldn't qualify was him doing that and making a mess of it. But yet he wanted to take it on because that's the way he was thinking. He is doing things right tonight.
Yeah, he really is. To manage this frame well, Richard Gifford blowing yellows wide open with his last shot because they couldn't afford to wait. Jimmy and Rob, I'd imagine here, will just pot the open balls, and that will chew up enough clock for them. There's an element of Rob thinking there, I think if he gets the double, great, but if he doesn't, I've got great cue ball. Might not have even looked at the double, might have been all on the cue ball. For Rob, one cushion, you'd fancy Kai, and he gets it. Can they force a finish in the final 48 seconds? In truth, the match has gone for them. That's a brilliant plant from Richard Gifford. Oh, double doink as well, that's helpful. What they need to leave is time for 2 breaks, and then golden break, golden duck is still on. That's a brilliant shot from Kyron Hewitt, by the way. Oh, has he finished touching? I think he has. Brutal. They won't get the finish that those first shots deserved there, because that was nearly a brilliant clearance. But it will be Jimmy Croxton and Rob Wharne who get the job done. Richard Gifford and Kyron Hewitt all smiles, but it's the Joker who has the last laugh with the whacker. Those two still yet to drop a frame, as they are odds-on favourites to qualify.